Hello and welcome to today's yoga practice. This practice is all about balance poses. So we're going to train our balance with standing and seated asanas. If you're new to balance poses, you can just follow the instructions of the video. If you are an advanced practitioner for balance poses, you can always fold the mat once or twice and place your weight-bearing leg on the folded part of the mat. This will be a more challenging alternative for all the exercises, so you can choose whichever option is the best one for you. So let's begin by taking a few breaths to arrive on our mat. You can also roll your shoulders a little bit and just activate your body to arrive on the mat and get started. We'll change side. And back to center. We're now going to place one hand beside us and stretch all the way across the body. Come back up and bend over to the other side. One last time. And we're now going to modify the movement. So we're bending over to the side and then come back around by bending down. Bend over to the side, turn down and around. This is more a ballet-like movement. That is warming up our back. One last time. And back to center. Let us come to a tabletop position for a short warm-up. And we will need one block for later, so you can place that ahead of your mat. So from here, we're going to shift the weight to the right hand and the left knee and extend the opposite arm and knee, and we bring them together on the exhale. So inhale, extend all the way, exhale, come together. And back to center. Let's change side. And come back to center. Now let's once again shift our weight to the first side. And we're trying to grab the foot behind us and stretch it up all the way. Try to hold this pose for a few breaths and hold the tension as well. Exhale, release. And if you like, bring you back to a cat pose and come back to center. We're now trying the other side. Shift your weight to one hand and one knee, and grab the foot behind you to rise up all the way. Inhale, stretch up a little bit more, and exhale, release, bring down the knee, and maybe roll up your back once again. And then we'll hook in our toes, come up to a downward facing dog, and take a few steps here. And then we slowly walk forward, step by step, to the top of the mat. We're now going to begin with our first balance flow. So shift your weight to your left leg so that you can stand on the left leg and move the right leg anywhere. So we're going to lift up the right leg, right knee, have the hands in front of our heart, and on the exhale we're going to bend over and stretch out the right leg all the way. On the inhale, come back up, and exhale, stretch out all the way. This is a dynamic movement, and it's not about doing it fast, so find your pace where you can perform that safely and in a good balance. Once more, and this time we'll have the hands beside us, and we stay in this pose for a few breaths. On the exhale, set down your right foot behind you, and we're coming up here into a lunge. In the lunge, you always have different options. If your feet are right behind each other, this is more challenging for the balance. If you're struggling with that, just take a wider step with a further hip distance in between, and that will be easier. From here, let us bend back just a little bit and stretch up all the way to the top. Exhale, bring down your arms, and then we are bending over the front leg. Take the block in between and step up here into a standing split. Some people also prefer to do that without a block, so just find your way. We're going to extend the right leg all the way to the top, and then bend forward with the rest of the body. Now, as we come down with the right leg and slowly lift the upper body, try not to put down the right leg. Take it instead and cross it over your left knee to come in a variation of tree pose. Here, make sure your shoulders are set back. You can stay in an upright position and just try to keep the balance here. On the next exhale, we sink a little bit deeper. And on the inhale, come up and release the right foot. We'll take a deep inhale up. Exhale to forward fold. We step back into a plank pose and take one vinyasa in whichever variation is all right for you today. When you're ready, we'll take the second side. So shift the weight to your right leg. Make sure that you are in balance. And then lift the left knee in front of you. Hands into prayer pose. And when you're ready, bend forward and extend the left leg all the way to the back. You don't have to go very deep. Your body doesn't have to be horizontal to the mat. All that matters is that your upper body is in one line with the legs and that you have a dynamic movement. Once more, and we stay here for a moment in Warrior 3. And then set the left foot back, so we can come into a lunge position. Once again, choose the distance between your feet to have a safe stand here. And we bring up our arms to the top and slightly bend back. If it feels uncomfortable for you to have your head back, you can simply keep it in an upright position. Exhale, bring your arms down. And then we step forward into the preparation for standing split. Raise the left leg as much as we can, and then bend forward with the upper body. Slowly let go the left leg. Try to come up at the same time without touching the ground with the left leg. And then bring the left foot across your right knee, and we'll come into this variation of tree pose. On the next exhale, we'll go a little deeper, and then inhale, come up, release the left leg. Stay here for a moment and feel whether the two sides feel the same. And then we're going to take a deep inhale. Exhale to forward fold. And we'll take a vinyasa. Let us begin with our second balance flow. We'll take a deep inhale and exhale to a forward fold. From here, we'll step back with the right foot and come into a warrior 2. We'll stay here for a moment and find the balance in this pose first. We can then shift our weight a little bit more to the front leg. Prepare a block on the other edge of the mat. And then come up to the left leg, extend the left leg, lift up the right leg. We're then going to open up our hips, and last but not least, add the left arm. Exhale, bring down the arm first. Bring down the leg. And we're coming back to plank pose. From here, shift the weight to the left side and try to open up into side plank. If this pose is too intense for you, you always have the option to lower the left leg and have some weight on the knee. Exhale, bring down the right arm. We're stepping back into downward facing dog and raise the right leg. And now we're going to tilt the leg and slightly tilt to the back so your hip will open up. I won't hold that for too long. Take another breath here. Bring your hips back into normal position. Bring down the right leg. And we're shifting to plank pose for Vinyasa. So from downward facing dog, we'll walk forward to the front edge of the mat and slowly come up vertebrae by vertebrae. Let's take it from the second side. Inhale. Exhale, come into forward fold. Here you can prepare your block on the right hand side of your mat. We'll step back with the left foot into warrior 2 and stay here for 2-3 breaths. From here, let's shift the weight to the right leg, step up, straighten the right leg, lift up the left leg, we'll open up the hips, and last but not least, add the left arm. We'll stay here for another breath. Exhale, bring down the arm. And we'll step back into plank pose, where we open up and turn to the left side this time. You always have the option to lower the right knee and have a little bit less weight on your arms. Exhale, bring down the left hand. We're stepping up into downward facing dog. Inhale, this time lift up the left leg, bend your knee, and then shift the weight so your hips are turning outwards. Exhale, come back to downward facing dog, plank pose, and we'll take a Vinyasa. and slowly walk back to the front of the mat, where we're going to finish this flow. Let us then continue with a balance flow in the middle of the mat. We're going to place the left foot behind the right foot. Bring up our arms. Grab your left wrist with the right hand and you stretch all the way to the side. Exhale, let go. We're staying on the right leg and we're going to cross over the left leg. Hook it in if you like, or you just stay like this. Bring out your right arm, left arm goes under, and we stay here in eagle pose. Slowly come up and release. Bring your foot to the mat and feel for a moment the difference between the two sides. We're then going to shift the weight to the left foot. Place the right foot behind it. Bring up our arms and grab the right wrist with the left hand and stretch all the way to the side. Come back up to center. We'll stay on the left leg with the weight. Cross the right leg over it. This time bring forward the left arm, the right arm goes under, and we stay in eagle pose for a few breaths. Exhale, come up and release. And we'll have both feet on the mat to feel the two different sides that are hopefully feeling equal. So let's have another flow that I very much like because of tree pose. That's my favorite pose. So we'll begin with the weight on the right foot this time and take the left foot, place it on the inner thigh, and we're coming to tree pose first. Find the balance, and if you like, rise up with your hands and then slightly bend over to the left side into weeping willow. Alternatively, you can just stay upright in tree pose. Now come back to tree pose with your hands in front of the heart. And from here, without putting down the left foot, we're going to grab the left foot. I'll slightly turn to the side so you can see it. And we'll come up into dancer pose. Exhale. Let go. Close your eyes for a moment. And you'll probably feel your feet as they have to work very hard to keep all the balance poses. We'll then shift the weight to the left leg and try the same sequence on this side. We'll begin in tree pose. Find your momentum here. If you like, bring your hands above your head and bend over to the right side into Weeping Willow. Or if you like, just stay in tree pose. Slowly release your hands, and without touching the ground, grab your right foot and come into dancer pose. Exhale, slowly release, and we'll meet again in center. So I'll have one more balance pose for you, which is an advanced pose, so we're only going to hold it for a short while. So let's shift the weight to the right leg. So we find our balance here, and now easy version, you just grab your toe and you stay like this. Difficult version, try to straighten your leg for a moment and hold the balance here. If you cannot extend your leg all the way, it's perfectly okay to have it bent a little bit. And then we'll release it the same way. Come back to center. Let's try the other side. Shift away to the left. Grab your toe. And you can either stand here or try to extend your leg. And release. All right, let's come to the mat for the seated sequence. We'll have a stretch of the glutes. So take your left leg straight out and the right leg goes below, so you can draw the right foot underneath. Then cross the left leg over it, so you can feel the stretch in your left and right glutes. From here we're going to inhale all the way up, feel the length in your spine, and then we'll exhale, turn over to the left side. So your right elbow is on your left knee. Exhale, release your arm first. And then we'll shift the legs. Now draw your left foot underneath. The right leg is either straight or you cross it over. Take a deep inhale to the top. Straighten your back and exhale to the right. Exhale, come back to center, release your arms, release the legs, and we'll come to tabletop pose once more. Now today our feet had to work really hard, so we're going to lock in our toes and then come to seated position for a short while to stretch the soles of our feet. The balance poses, they always look very easy because we don't move during balance poses, but they are very hard work for the feet and legs they're all working. Release your toes, bring them down to the mat. And if you like, you can walk back a few steps for a counter stretch, just shortly. Exhale, come back up. And slightly move back with your knees. Place your hands in front of you. And we're coming into a seal pose. If this stretch feels too intense for you, you have the option to come down to your elbows. And stay here instead. From here, bring your left arm across the right arm and cross them. So you can place your chin on one of your arms. Slowly come out of the pose. Place your hands onto your shoulders. Press yourself back and come to a child's pose. From the child's pose, you can turn over and lay down in a comfortable position. Place your hips on the mat and let your back roll down vertebrae by vertebrae. Lift your shoulders once again and turn your palms facing upward to enjoy the final relaxation. We will stay in silence for a moment and keep our eyes closed. Slowly bring back your attention to the here and now, to your body and to your breath. Follow the breath as it enters your mouth and your chest, all the way down to your belly and out again in reverse order. Take a few more breaths. And while you do that, start moving your toes and your fingers, your wrists, to become aware again of the here and now. And when you're ready, turn over to one side and then slowly come back up to a seated position. Let us fold the hands together in front of our hearts and thank ourselves for having taken the time to follow this practice and to bring ourselves into balance. Let's bow forward, bring the hands to our forehead and come back up. Namaste. Thank you for joining my practice today. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you don't want to miss any of the upcoming classes, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you'll always see the new videos first. Thank you for joining, and I hope to see you soon again. Goodbye.